Hey guys, today I'm going to be reviewing a kind of a funny 3D and inverted RC car. It's really unusual. It has these, you can see where it bends here, and the car will go flat or it'll go all the way up. Let me move. The box is a little beat up because I kind of beat it up opening it up, but let's see if we can get it into my view here. You can drive it with the wheels all the way down, or you can drive it with the body raised up. It is four-wheel drive. It has a brushed motor in it. It has rather nice rubber tires, so it has pretty good grip. Just has fake, looking suspension here, so this doesn't have any suspension on it. You do have to drive it with, you have to kind of pay attention here because the top and the bottom are different. The one that shows the motor would be the actual bottom of the car if you want to drive it with the body raised up. So this is how you drive it with the body raised up. If the body is, if you're driving it with it flat, then the car can actually roll over and drive on the other side. I can drive this way, and I'll demonstrate that in a moment, and of course in the driver view. And that's how it drives. It can drive either way, that way, so there's no issues. But if you are flipped this way with, you can see the exhaust, fake exhaust and motor, then if you try to raise the body up, it'll do that. So you have to be mindful of how you've got the car, that you make sure you're this side up if you're going to try to transform it. So you might just want to stick, if you're fine with the the car low to the ground, then you can just drive it that way and not have to worry. It'll flip over and continue going on either side. But if you want it up a little bit higher, for a little more clearance in the middle, even though you still got the same clearance next to the wheels, it looks a little bit neater, I think, this way. You just have to have it this right side up. They call it the hyperactive stunt car. There's a lot of different names for it, two-sided stunt car. I even have on a box rock crawler. I don't know about that. As you can see here, it's just straight. There's no differential or anything. This is not going to work really as a rock crawler. Maybe some little rocks for a kid, but it's more of a stunt vehicle than anything. Now it comes with a nickel cadmium pack in it. It does not use a lipo or a lithium ion, and that goes in this side here where the engine shows. You might be able to see it. It's under. You can kind of see it under the fake windshield here. You have to take these two screws out, and it's a very, very tight fit. So it takes a little work to get that battery in there. There's a spot for the old Tamiya connector, but you really have to work with it to get it because of one of the hinges wants to go right where the wire is coming out of the battery. And if you flip the battery this other way, then it's not long enough for the battery to lay down. So I was able to get it. Just would have liked to see a little bit more room for the battery. So it's a 9.6 volt, 1000 milliamp hour nickel cadmium battery. It comes with a USB charger for the nickel cadmium battery with, like I said, the old school, I call it Tamiya connectors, that are fine for nickel cadmium, but they're not the most efficient plugs for the higher, the lithium ion and lipos. They don't use that for any of those anymore. But it takes a very long time to charge, which is not unexpected. It's basically a trickle charge. It's charging at 250 milliamp, it says. So in the instruction manual, I didn't use it to charge it, but the instruction manual says it can take up to 8 hours to charge the very first charge, and after that, 5 to 6 hours. And that's because, the nickel cadmiums are best being fully discharged, so they don't develop a memory. So it comes very low charge, basically down to nothing. So it's going to take longer. They figure after that, you're not going to discharge it with the car all the way to almost zero voltage. So it takes about 5 to 6 hours typically. If you've got a nickel cadmium charger, a nickel metal hydrate, those they work the same voltage. Use that, you'll get much quicker. I used my IMAX V6 AC charger on the nickel cadmium, and it was maybe an hour to charge it. I didn't look real closely, but it didn't take long at all, and I was charging at 1 amp. So I was charging at a 4 times higher rate than this. Just don't charge it at 2 amps or something high. The battery will get really hot, and you don't want that. That's not good for the batteries. So the controller is kind of cool. It's got these little like finger holes, especially for a kid. These on top here are not functional. They look like they're buttons. It's got your forward, your back, and your right and left. The controller powers up when you press on the sticks. So it's one of those ones that just powers up with the sticks. There's no on and off. And this button in the middle is the transform button for the car to go up and down. So 2.4 gigahertz, so you should get, I think, 50-meter range, it says, out of it. So I don't know the drive time. You know, I didn't run it all the way dead, but I think 15 minutes out of this would be reasonable. It could be considerably longer because it's not super fast. You know, it's a small brush motor, but since it is 4-wheel drive, that's going to take a little more power than a 2-wheel drive. So not a whole lot to cover with this car, so I'm going to take it out. We'll see how it goes through the grass, just to kind of power. I've mostly been driving it inside and on the concrete, so we'll see how it works in the grass and what kind of power it has. We'll flip it over, you know, and try driving it both up and down and let you see. So that should cover the table review part. So let's go ahead and take it outdoors for a test drive. Okay guys, I got the 3D inverted, you know, kind of transformable car outside here for a test drive. It is very windy today, so you know, I don't want to get out too far outside of my garage just because I don't want to have a ton of, you know, I'm wearing a microphone. You know, who wants to hear a bunch of wind noise? So I'll probably kind of hear on the edge of my garage, so I won't be driving it too far from me. The manufacturer I didn't mention, I think, was Zheng Guang. I've never heard of them. I just thought it was kind of funny that the logo looks like very similar to the Tamiya, the Japanese RC brand that's been around forever. I thought it was kind of funny they kind of imitated that name and design, I should say, of the logo. So you have the on and off switch here on the side. So go ahead, I turned it on. Of course, I've got the body up. So let's go ahead and drive it forward now. Like I said, it's not super fast, but it's faster than you would expect for kind of a kid's, you know, kind of toy. It does, and see there it flipped over with the body up. It does turn a lot better, it seems. I noticed in my previous test drive. Of course, I got it facing backwards now. That's to the left, and I rolled it again. With the body up, it's going to be a little bit, have a higher center of gravity. So let's see if I got, there we go. That's one thing I've also noticed. It's a little bit, you know, determining the front from the back, if you're not paying close attention, can be a little bit easy to mess up. Turning to the right, is not nearly as good as turning to the left. And that's going through the grass. So there's turning to the right, and it does not turn much to the right. So it's almost like those old cars where you only could turn one way. It's not that bad, but here's turning to the left. Let me go forward here. And you see, turning to the left is really good. But turning to the right is very minor, and there's no steering trim. So I don't think for a kid that's going to be a huge deal, because you can still turn it around. But I certainly would have liked to see it have better steering, because as far as I can tell, there's no steering trim on this. You know, some of the cars will include, you know, a steering trim thing on, you know, the bottom. This car's a little above that quality. So that is, you know, unfortunate. The way you locate the front is by the 01 or the where it says match. I'm not sure what that means. But it's got, you know, it's a little bit quicker than I expected. And there, you know, it's turning to the right there, okay. Sometimes you get the momentum going, then it helps those big tires turn. Let's take it to the grass one more time here. Just take it all the way out. So, you know, it doesn't too bad. I think this would be a really good toy for a you know, like a 6 to 8 year old. And with it not having any trim, you know, when I try to go straight, see it's going left. And you just have to constantly correct that because there's no way to adjust, fine-tune that. So I'm not sure why they didn't include that. Let's go ahead and we'll bring it back here and I'll show you. We'll transform it down to the ground now. There it goes. Now it's all the way down. Looks almost like a rat rod or something. Let's see how it goes through the grass. It doesn't do too bad considering it's lower, but because of those really big wheels. You see when I came up here, way my garage has a lip to it, the body kind of banged against it there a little bit. I don't know if I'm going to be able to roll it, but there's such a low center of gravity, you're not likely to roll it over. So I'm just going to flip it over and show you. So I'm just going to take my foot, flip it over, and now we're going the either way. So the good thing about this car, when you got it this way, is you are not going to ever flip it over and have to worry about it getting stuck when you have it all the way down. So it's not much is going to stop it unless you run into something and you can't get it unlodged or something. Now I get the motors here, so I believe this is the bottom. Let's go ahead and I believe if I transform it now, it's going to be upside down. Yeah, see? So that's the one way you can end up like a turtle, belly up. So you just go ahead and put it back down. Then you just want to go over here, and I'll just use my sandal again. Just flip the body over. And now we can transform it back to the top. So, as I mentioned earlier, the only time you're going to have running issues with the transforming is if you have it on the wrong side. It only can transform up with the 01 and match on top. That's how you know, or the motor not showing, that you're on the top of the vehicle. I think it runs a little better with it all the way raised up. And of course you got more clearance on the body. The nickel cadmium batteries in it, they look like they're like the AA size. So, you know, even if you can't find a pack for this, it would not be too hard. Ooh, banged into the car, that van, that's pretty cool. It wouldn't be too hard to make a battery pack for this, just soldering together. I want to think, I'd have to look. You know this if you purchase it. I think it was six AA, of course, the rechargeable ones. And the Tamiya connectors are super easy to find still. So you can make yourself one and just tape it up with electrical tape if you wanted an extra battery pack. So I don't know if you'll be able to find this exact sized pack. 9.6 volt rechargeables are pretty common, so you used to have a lot of the toy stuff at the Walmarts and stuff. So you may be able to find one. You just have to make sure it's the right size since it's such a tight fit in the battery bay. Go ahead and transform it back down again. That one kind of like, this one probably looks a little cooler, like I said, but a little more drag going through the grass because of the body being so low. But I just know it's going to be hard to roll this because it's such a low center of gravity. So the fact that you can roll it's cool, but I just don't see how you. The only way I could think you could roll this is if you try to drive it up onto maybe a rock or something that's kind of big, and you got it up high enough on its side that it fell over. I don't think I have a rock here that's large enough for that. I'm going to go through this. Well, look at that power. It went bulldozing right through there. There's a rock down here, but not big enough. Boy, that wind is really whipping today. So I think that's the only way you're going to have this thing flip over is driving up on the side of something and have it flip when you have it all the way down. Well, I think that shows enough. There's not a whole lot to show except for they can drive either way, in this way, or hit the button and have it raise up, and there you go. You got more clearance in the middle, and you know, either way the truck looks cool. You know, I don't remember the price offhand. There'll be a purchase link in the description to this, along with a discount code for this vehicle. So I think this would make a nice present for a 6 to 8 year old boy. I think they would really like this. But you know, someone, an adult or someone, obviously this is more toy type stuff. But the fact that the flipping over works really, really well is a plus. You know, just make sure you remember when you're driving it, if you're going to transform it up, that you've got the top, this side facing. Otherwise, you're just going to end up belly up like a turtle on its back. So that should wrap up this review of this truck. So I appreciate you for watching, and hope you guys have a good day, and see you later.
The power of the dark side.